Yeah, okay. So we're live. Hi everyone, from wherever you are joining, from whichever part of the world. Uh, Welcome to this session. So, along with me, I have my good friend Noor. So, as one would be aware, meaning of Noor is brightness, and if I remember correctly, shining light from the heavens. So, whenever I meet Noor, she is always a very bright presence, very cheerful, very enthusiastic. And I was just discussing with her some incident related to prior to the sessions, which it kind of itched into my memory. She was having some issues with a technical thing, so I did not realize that she would land up in a software company. So she has been with very two prominent organizations in the software space, LinkedIn and Salesforce. So presently she is part of the Salesforce. And of course, carrying a lot of activities. I keep on following her LinkedIn posts, and she's very encouraging to her colleagues, friends, or whoever are in the company. Very encouraging. So it has been really even the so-called light happiness she spreads through her posts. So thanks, Noor, for joining. She joins us from Ireland.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Great.
great to reconnect, and it was really nice that you remembered this memory. Also, talking about light, today in Dublin, I got the most light coming into this room. So it looks like it's very, very bright. So I'm absolutely delighted.
Thank you, Noor. So going forward, Noor, tell me about what led you to pursue. You have a diverse educational background. Along with you had a Bachelor's of Science in Hospitality from Beirut, and then you pursue management. So how did you narrow down to this career choice? Because career choice is very confusing area to narrow down to.
Oh yeah, completely. I um Where can I start? I think every decision of organization was led by a series of a lot of preparation, and a lot of coincidence. So initially, and I was telling this to a friend a few days ago, I had applied to. I had applied for a pharmacy when I had
Okay.
just graduated from school, and then the
Okay.
first time I didn't get pharmacy. However, I got dentist. So I didn't want to become a dentist. So I went into a year of biology and I went for the exam a second time. And the second time I got dentist again. I didn't get pharmacy, which is what I wanted. And then I was like, you know what? This might be a sign. I really, really don't want to become a dentist. So let me do what I dream of becoming. So I had this dream of opening up a restaurant,
Oh wow.
and it had the. I was like, let me follow this. So that's where I landed in hotel management. I had very, very diverse experiences there from, being in kitchens in very, very nice hotels in Lebanon, but also I was very lucky that I had a very strong sponsor that allowed me to find an internship in Paris, in the Hilton in Paris. And wow, this had completely opened my eyes. When I was in the Hilton in Paris, I was a front desk agent. So I discovered all of the world of hotels in Europe, etc. And then, one day I woke up, I was like, actually, I don't want to be from this side of the hotel. I want to be more from, the other side of hotels, meaning I saw like I started seeing some friends in Paris that were going to business schools, and this really really inspired me. And when I spoke with them, I was asking them, "How come you went to business school? What is it? What is a business school initially?"
Okay.
And then I noticed that they came from very very different backgrounds, A lot of them came from engineering. A lot of them came from law degree. I was the only one. Um, Maybe I didn't see many that came from hospitality. So I think from there it was really it was the triggering event that was like, you know what, I will try. I will give it a try. So very quickly after, living in Paris for a few months and discovering what it is to live abroad, I really, really loved it. I loved my
Okay.
experience in France, and I wanted to go back. So that's how I applied for the business school. I had good grades. Actually, I was very, very lucky to get good grades on. I remember there was the TOEIC that was very strong. Um, I had good grades in the school where I was, so it helped me a lot. And that's why I applied. I applied to ESSEC because I wanted to broaden my horizons. Okay, I didn't want necessarily to continue in hotel management. I was like, you know what, this is a degree. It's a diploma that gave me a lot, and I want to capitalize on it. And I want to do something different. I wanted to work in Europe. I wanted to work for, maybe one of those companies. Initially, I really, really wanted to do management and consulting. This was my first dreams when I was seeing my all of my friends going from one company to another, discovering different things. So this is this first transition, right, from hospitality into ESSEC. And then when I was in ESSEC, I started looking at what opportunities could come up. Where can I fit? Because very, very often the background is more engineering and then business school. It's especially in France. I noticed that a lot of people were perplexed. Like, you come from hotel management. What are you doing here? So and this, I think this is the first challenge that I had faced
Okay.
when I was looking for different. You have to do a stage, you have to do internships at ESSEC. Coming in from outside of Europe, ESSEC was also extremely expensive. So there was this apprentissage that allowed a company to sponsor you. And I don't know if it's a mix of luck and hard work, but Michelin was actually advertising this
Okay.
2-year apprentissage, an apprenticeship. Like, it's a long internship where they were offering 9 months of pure sales, selling tires in northwest of France, combined with 6 months of of studies, and then I would go back 6 months and be based in Stockholm um, to do some trade marketing, and then back at ESSEC. And I applied for it. I loved cars initially. Don't ask me how or why I really loved cars, but I was like, you know what? I love cars. Michelin is top brand in tires. It was
Mm.
very, very well known to be a company that is very very, very focused on your success and on your development. And this is what brought me actually to
Okay.
Michelin, and they had faith in me. So they gave me this opportunity. And actually, when they had asked me, what experience do you have that relates to sales? Because I
Okay.
had never done this before. And I told them actually that I did a lot of waitressing. And when
Oh,
you are a
okay.
waitress in like in hotel management, you're actually setting the menu. You're
Agreed.
trying to upsell, etc. So this was maybe my bridge, where I told
Okay.
them, "Look, I worked really hard. I worked with people, and it's something that really, really excited me." So that's the transition from ESSEC to Michelin. I think it was a lot around also my skills, what I was naturally drawn to, etc.
Sure.
Maybe it's a very long answer to your question,
No,
but
no, that's us.
just
Okay.
let
Thank
me
you.
bridges.
Agreed, agreed. But yes, since you had management education, and of course, every work has its utility, every work has its value. Of course, the moment we change the perspective through which we see, it makes all the difference. So that's how, even when I explain it to when India, of course, I think you have not yet been to India, but if you see, there are tea stalls everywhere, and you have cafe coffee day, so these tea stalls also sell coffee. Cafe coffee day also sells coffee. So the roadside tea stall, of course, it would cost maybe in Indian rupees, maybe less than a fraction of a euro, but people will go to cafe coffee day, almost they will pay 10, 50, 20 times price. The only thing which has been changed is how you are delivering, how you are, maybe let's say, creating a value proposition. So that was really nice. Now, even though you had earlier an opportunity of inclination to open a hotel, you did not do it, but you ran a startup. So you were an entrepreneur, and then you set up this Momari, it's a private chauffeur service. So how was this
It
experience?
wasn't mine. Maybe it's
Okay,
not very clear. But when I was at ESSEC, I had completed my studies, and I finished with Michelin. And I was looking to work actually in Paris.
okay.
Um, I sorry, did you disappear from the screen?
Just some camera issue. Just please carry on.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, so I was put in touch with this company Mamari that had a business idea of, Uber had started at the time, and they were only doing limousine hiring for to and back and forth from airports. And then they had started bringing, the limousine service everywhere, so that it was really this person that has a great entrepreneurial mindset, and it was, you know what, why don't we do this? Why don't we see, can you hire some chauffeurs, can you hire some cars, and then make a business out of it? Which was initially a really, really nice idea. However, we've had a few challenges in the way, and then in the meantime, I got the offer from LinkedIn, which I
Okay.
couldn't say no to. But I really, really learned a lot, and it gave me also a little bit of understanding of the tech world, how Uber works, because I was in the background of Uber, checking. Checking the different cars, checking the best ways to get from A to B. So no, it was really interesting, but it was another bridge that actually got me to apply and to get the
Sure.
role at LinkedIn.
Sure. Okay. So you had quite a significant long stint in LinkedIn. So what led you to transition to LinkedIn? It's primarily quite different what you had done with Michelin, what you were doing right after Michelin.
It
So
was
what was
very
the
different, but also there was a lot of similarities. So
okay?
I was actively looking. So at that time when I was in Paris, very good friends of mine in Paris had some friends that were visiting from Facebook and Google. And at the time, Facebook and Google were absolutely booming. And again, it was another bridge for me. I was like, oh, actually, I have some friends that are there. They made it. They made it there. They live in Dublin. So if I ever needed, uh, any type of support or help, there are people that I know and that I really, really get on really well. So this is how it started. So I started looking at opportunities initially at Facebook and Google and LinkedIn. And the opportunities that were available and that would have transitioned me the easiest were actually sales opportunities. So at LinkedIn, I remember they were looking for a French and Arabic speaker for a
Okay.
sales development role, And sales development is a little bit like the first step into a career in sales. So it's a little bit like telesales, where you are handling the first part of the sales process, which is very much into calling leads, understanding different businesses, how do they work, and can we bring them value. So there was a lot of transferable skills, right, from my sales
Yeah.
stint at Michelin, where actually also when I was doing the interview at LinkedIn, they asked me, have you ever done something that is similar, going and
Okay.
knocking on people's door, asking for appointments. And this is exactly what I was like, actually, yes. When I was at Michelin, I worked in sales. I was knocking at people's door, businesses who didn't even know me. And I was there also to sell them tires. So this was another transition. And it was my first role where I was like, this is the key for me to start a career in sales, in tech sales, which also it was somewhere where I was able to bring the value of speaking different languages, whereas in France I was only speaking French. Then when I moved to LinkedIn, I knew that I could speak French, I could also speak Arabic, and I could speak English. So I felt that the value was maximized in what I was going to bring. And LinkedIn, for me, obviously, it was a dream to join a company like LinkedIn. It would have never crossed my mind before. So this was the transition from a company, like Michelin, Mamari, and then LinkedIn. It's really, I think every time I did a bridge from one place to another, always my experience right before was relevant in some way or another.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So just taking a step back, you studied in Lebanon, then you moved to France. What kind of difference you have studied, lived in different geographies? What kind of academic differences did you find studying in Lebanon and then in France?
Um, there was a lot of similarities. First, just to say that there was a lot of similarities, but for me, really, transitioning from a place where I feel comfortable, I have my support system, where maybe I'm also part of the best,
Okay.
to a place where in ESSEC, I was never the smartest in the room. I always felt out of my really very, very often, a lot of classes, I felt that I wasn't, the best. And then to get myself there, I felt it was very challenging.
Okay.
And having this mix of, you need to be, when you go to business school, some classes are very, very tough. And also you have so many people. You just want to
Indeed.
spend time with them. You want to have a coffee with someone. You want to go out. You want to see Paris. So it was, how do you deal with so many competing priorities from a
Agreed.
personal
Yes.
and a professional perspective and educational perspective? So I learned so much living on my own. First, it was the first time I lived on my own, and then
Oh,
going and
wow.
attending classes where maybe I needed to work 10 times harder, because also in hotel management, there's a lot of things I had never done. Uh, I'm still a little bit traumatized from this financial theory
Okay.
theory course. I think I must
Okay.
have repeated it twice or three times. I found it really, really hard. Of course, there are courses that I really enjoyed: organizational behavior, management, etc. I felt much better, but a lot of things I found very difficult. I learned, I think I don't think I had realized at the time, but I did learn a lot.
Sure.
Also, how to work with diverse backgrounds. And
Agreed. Agreed.
tech, they used to put you in these groups where you had to work with different people. How do you convince them to come together, and how do you convince them that your idea is also a good idea?
Agreed. Agreed. So very,
So
very, I would say very beautifully put it. There are always competing priorities. So it is not that it is just in a business scenario, but even in real life. And thank you for bringing that real perspective. That, of course, you have your academics, but you have a new place, a lot of very interesting things, a lot of people to spend time with. And given my experience, when I went, of course, I would say it was the first international experience which ESSEC gave me. So you have people from different languages, different foods. So many people, of course, they're fond of different foods. Al Moroccan food, Lebanese food, of course, Lebanese wine and all that. It was so
Indian
many things.
foods.
Uh,
Wow. It was my
so
first time eating Indian food that was, I think it was cooked at home by Kumar, I think. Wow. And then he helped me. He told me, okay, because I couldn't eat it. It was so spicy, but it was so delicious. And then he gave me, I remember, yogurt. And I was like, oh, this is how you do it. You eat
okay.
one bite and then you eat yogurt the second bite. That's how I can enjoy it.
Yeah, so that is what also helps us build more richness. That we are not just narrow to one country, but the whole world. We are somewhere connected. And of course, what happens in one part of the world should affect other part of the world rather than. So of course, few things I should not bring it maybe because that has a political alignment to it. But I personally feel when people suffer in one part of the world, it is not that we can keep our eyes closed. We
Yeah,
always have
yeah,
to
yeah,
build
I
that global
agree.
perspective. We always have to build up that connect. And given
That's
in case I
so
have
true. This is
to
so
agree.
true. Coming from, a Lebanese background where, there was the civil war in Lebanon, where, you can be very, very judgmental on where this person comes from, what political party they belong to, and then you land in a place where these things really, really don't matter. Also, I
Agreed.
met some Lebanese people. I would have never met them in Lebanon, and I really, really enjoyed every minute with them. And this has opened my eyes. I came
Agreed.
from a very, maybe a closed mindset to actually no, like there are people from very diverse backgrounds, diverse political viewpoints, and I learned so much from them. I get along so well with them. Does it really, really matter? So I completely agree. And when they suffer, I suffer too.
Agreed. 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 So thank you also for bringing honesty about course struggle with courses. So of course that is also when I did my bachelor's. When I moved to my so in my bachelor's, I was also very good. But when I went to masters, I saw okay, I'm like everyone else. So I need to maybe build more and some of the courses which I thought that being an engineer. So I am my graduation is engineering. When I went for masters in MBA, I thought okay maybe courses which would have some engineering element to it, I may be able to do better. But I realized there also I was average. So what happens? Your ego gets challenged, your ego gets
So
normalized. You get
much.
very reality check.
Oh, completely.
Agreed, agreed. So from LinkedIn, you move to Salesforce. So LinkedIn primarily social, I would say platform. And I had seen even from the college days, you're very social, reaching out to people. So I would say there was a very natural extension. But what led you to go to Salesforce? Of course, it's a very important organization. A lot of organizations in India also use Salesforce suite, and it's very robust. So what led you to transition?
Let me tell you a little nice story. So at LinkedIn, I went from sales dev into a full sales role, where I had my book of business and I had to sell into it. So I was always first of all, I was using Salesforce on a daily basis.
Okay.
And on top of this, I remember I used to go and meet customers, my customers in France, and I remember that I was speaking with one of the customers, and she was like, "Oh, we just implemented Salesforce. It's absolutely amazing." And then her and I started talking about, "Wow, look what Salesforce can do! Look at the amazing functionalities there are there." So that's the first, funny story about it. I was
Okay.
using it for 5 years, and I had used, previously at Michelin, they had their internal CRM that I had used. So I knew I had seen the differences.
Okay.
Um, And at LinkedIn is very much into, coaching and development. It's not only about your role right now, it's where you want to become. And at LinkedIn, so I had experience coaching. I became a certified coach within the LinkedIn program, and coaching has really really transformed my life. First of all, from a personal perspective, I had chosen a professional coach to work with that really opened my eyes into, all of the limiting beliefs that I had, and how if I set an objective in place and I work on it, it will happen. But also, when I started coaching people, I started coaching my peers because I had to do this for the certification. And I saw the happiness that it brought me during these conversations, during these coaching conversations. And on top of this, I started actually using some coaching methodology with my prospects, with my customers as well, asking them questions. What is your project? What do you want to achieve out of this? And this has brought so much value to all of the people that I was interacting with. The reason why I'm talking so much about coaching is, first of all, I really, really enjoy it. I'm a big advocate. And second, is this coaching piece that actually, while I was working on developing as a manager, as a people manager at LinkedIn, I was applying internally to become a sales dev manager. At the same time, I was actually approached by a recruiter at Salesforce. Thank you, which I thank again until this time. And if I have to be very honest with you, would have never crossed my mind that Salesforce would be interested in a profile like mine. So
Okay.
when I went into the interviews, again, I had a very close friend of mine that had recently moved from Salesforce to LinkedIn. So she told me everything that she knew about
Oh,
Salesforce. And I was really impressed already with Salesforce as a CRM. I knew maybe one or two people who worked there. And then when I went into the interviews, I was so natural. I was like, you know what? I will go. I will give it my best. I will say what I know. Because, moving from an individual contributor role to a manager role typically would only happen within the same company. It's rare that
true.
somebody trusts you to
Agreed.
move. So, and I was like, you know what? Anyway, I'm interviewing at LinkedIn. I will use this opportunity also to see what type of questions I ask, etc. And then the interview process went amazing.
Okay.
Big thank you to Mature Code, who I had the first conversations with, and I was able to be myself all the way through, up to from the first till the second. There was an on-site panel um, where I delivered my presentation, and it went amazing. And at the same time, it was taking much longer at LinkedIn. So I ended up with an offer from Salesforce, which until now, I was surprised that I had gotten it, and
Mhm.
it was taking very long. So I spoke with sales directors. I spoke with a lot of people before making my decision, and everybody was like, "Wow, this is an amazing opportunity." However, initially I didn't want to leave LinkedIn, so I spent a week crying because I didn't want to leave LinkedIn. Uh, and I told my manager, actually, I cannot say no to Salesforce. They're giving me a manager role. It's an amazing company. And one of my values really is development and learning new things. And I was like, in 3 months, I will learn so much. And it's the time where they had told me, there will be a role open in 3 months, etc. And I was like, thank you, but I'm leaving, and of course in very good terms with
Agreed.
LinkedIn. But I was like, I cannot say no to this. And ever since I joined Salesforce, honestly, wow, wow.
Okay.
A day at Salesforce is like a week in real life. This is the amount of stretch of learning. It has been an amazing, amazing journey.
Agree. So you have been into software industry per se, technical space you can talk about. So what's your
Let's
views? You
not
have
call it
seen
software anymore.
oh, okay, a technical industry. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So what's your view about diversity? The present level of diversity, presence of women as in the technical workforce, and what are maybe couple
Yeah,
of technique areas which companies need to pay attention?
diversity, look, the diversity is really, really key. And if Mark Benioff says one thing about diversity, it's so important for you to do business to do business with diverse businesses. You need to have diversity. If you don't have diversity, if you only speak one language, how can you cater to a multi country languages? It's very, very difficult. So we do at Salesforce, diversity is really, really important. It's not only gender based diversity, obviously, it's diversity of backgrounds, not hiring always from the same school or from the same referrals, or not hiring just people that have this specific profile.
Great,
This is something that I myself, even as a manager, I always have to, I have to challenge recruiters when they send me people, and it's always, if it's very similar profiles, I will ask them, please, can you send me maybe somebody that has a different profile. So for me, diversity is really, really key. And the reason why I say that I am a women tech advocate is because I have noticed around me that the gender diversity is not where it should be. And I notice that very, very often when I have worked with women, there was this, I felt represented. For example, when I see a CEO that is a woman, when I see a director that is a woman, I'm like, you know what, actually I could get there. If she's not only a woman, she's also a parent, she has children. Maybe I'm thinking of a woman who has two children, and that doesn't have a partner. I'm like, wow, actually, if this person is at this level, it means that I can as well. So
agree,
I think this is really where it comes from. First of all, representation is really important. Diversity in the business is very important. And me working at Salesforce, which is might be a little bit scary for a fresh grad that has just started. It feels very, very technological. So this is why very often I try to have my door open on LinkedIn. A lot of fresh grads that are women get in touch with me, and I try my best to facilitate something for them, to have a coaching conversation, to open a door, whatever it is. I really, really try my best to do this because I think it's so important and it brings a lot of value.
agreed, agreed. No, that's a beautiful perspective, and I would say that given your temperament, you are very open in sharing that
Mhm.
knowledge. So I hope in due course of time you will integrate maybe being, of course, in an organization, you will go and also teach children, children in the sense students in the colleges, because in my opinion, they will learn quite a bit. So hopefully you can maybe tie up with ESSEC, some program, some course, maybe take a couple of guest lectures. I think that will be really good because
I think I would love this. I don't know when still, but the reason why I became a manager and why now I want to transition into more leadership is to also inspire. I always think that if I was able to do it, not that I want to diminish myself, but if I was able to do it coming from my background, anybody can do it,
great, great. And
and much
I,
better. Sorry, and much
yeah, so yeah, could be, but what I have seen you over the years, very open. You're very open. Even if during the course of this interaction you mentioned, that there were some courses where you were struggling. So usually people don't try to talk about maybe their, let's say, negative side, always pose themselves as okay, very super smart, but there are vulnerability. So we are all vulnerable. We are ultimately human beings. We have something very good, we are not so good. So that way you are very honest. So of course, for learning, one need to build honesty. What I would suggest is that you also get in touch with Francoise Ray, who was the president when we were at ESSEC. I keep on sending, exchanging greetings, and the new president ESSEC, she's an Indian. So and they are very open. So in my opinion, you should reach out to them. Probably they are just looking for some alumni to approach. Probably you could take guest sessions.
Yeah, okay. I will take you on this.
So I'll just share their emails with you. Just drop them a mail. They'll be, I think, very happy. And Francoise, whenever I write a greeting on New Year or some event, she always writes back. So very nice person. Again, of course, and the person who is now a sex president, she's also lady. So a lot of female leadership, I would say, in education. That is really good. I would say good. I would say vibes. Now we are almost at the end of the session. You have moved into education, different geographies, work different places, different countries. So if you have to give some suggestions to whoever are they observing, in case they have to make most out of their, let's say, international academic or professional experiences, what all things they should keep in mind, what all maybe, let's say, strategies they should utilize based on your experiences.
That's a great question. I have so many ideas that come into my head. How can I prioritize? Maybe based on my um, three things that I would say. I had this conversation with someone also recently that wanted to move. So the first thing is you have to set yourself an objective. Okay,
Sure.
whatever this objective is, just set one objective. When you set this objective, put it on a timeline. Whatever timeline you are comfortable with. Is it 1 month? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Whatever the timeline is, it's irrelevant. Just set a timeline. When you set a timeline and this objective, I would say also visualization is really, really important. Try and print it out. Have it somewhere where you see it every day. That's the first thing. Setting an objective. Second, plan. Okay. If I want to get there, what needs to be done? Okay. And every week, have one or two activities that you task yourself to do towards this objective. It can be 20 activities, it doesn't matter, but as long as there is at least one that gets you closer or that you are moving towards this goal. It can be something like using a new tool. Maybe you were not using LinkedIn before. Maybe you want to just upload your resume there. Maybe then later you start getting more comfortable with it. Whatever it is, just have a set of activities and then ask for help. The third one is ask for help, and even if you can get 10 people who say no, you never know the person that will say yes, how much help
Agree.
they can bring you.
Agree.
So that's what I would say. Set yourself an objective. You might never get to this objective, but it will lead you somewhere where you would be surprised that maybe it's actually much better than what you thought initially. Visualize
Agree.
it daily and then take progressive actions towards this objective. And lastly, of course, ask for help from people you know and people you don't know.
Yeah, great. Okay, it's very beautifully put it. Yes, usually we keep always remain apprehensive whether the person is going to help or not. So we should take initiative, and very beautifully put that even if, let's say, first five, maybe let's say first five, seven, eight out of 10 people you approach, maybe the ninth or 10th person would offer something which be valuable. So one need to be persistent. So thank you, very structurally putting it, and I'll again encourage you engage with academia along with your job, people, students will learn quite a bit from your experiences, your thoughts, because you have a lot of it. So thanks. So we are at the end of this. So everyone who joined us, thank you very much. Thank you, Noor, for being
Thank
here. It
you.
was wonderful catching up with you and getting your thoughts on various perspectives. So it was really nice, very refreshing.
Thank you so much for having me and for inviting me and for your really well thought of questions, I have to say. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'll just end the live stream. Just remain there.